From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Captain's Log Supplemental.
So, Miss Vicki.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember when we were watching those WRL events and some of those Grid Life events where you used to see the in-car video and it had like the cameras seeing front and back, but it also could see all the telemetry and everything that was going on?
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the ones that we liked were taken by the Sentinel system. Remember James came on our podcast earlier?
Right.
You know, we have no excuse since he lent us one for trial and demonstration purposes. We should actually probably put that in one of our cars. Maybe two.
I really think we should.
I think we should.
I know.
Because then we'd look like the immature endurance racing team that we are. Oh, wait, I mispronounced that, didn't I? Sorry, my bad. We could
So what does the
have,
Sentinel system do?
we could have 3 cameras with picture-in-picture. We could have, if we ever get the AIM system to work, open invitation to anybody from AIM to come on and give us a little bit of love. We need some help. And then we could have all our telemetry on there. And then we can have it streamed live into the paddock or around the world to our millions of fans. We're apparently very popular in Kenya right now. Don't know why, but that's fine. And it can integrate all the available race statistics from like Race Hero and everything. So we could actually see how we're doing on video. We wouldn't even have to carry around our phone anymore. Live.
I love it.
Dominating with Dawson.
Ben Dawson, I have a gift for you.
All right. I love gifts. Hit me.
I know. That's why we give them to you as many times as we can.
You guys are
Miss
so
Vicki,
sweet
it's
to
one
me.
of Ben's favorite gifts. It's a gift that the audience asked a question.
All right.
Wow. A true blessing to know that people listen to us and trust us enough to ask us stuff. That really makes me feel good. I'm
Okay.
ready.
You know, sometimes the listeners ask questions and I'm like, I know what the answer is, or I know what Ben's answer is. And then
Yeah.
sometimes they ask a question and I'm like, huh.
Sometimes they ask a question and you're like, I'm going to tell everybody what the right answer is. And I'm going to do it in a very circuitous way. And then at the end, I'm going to do it like a Columbo, like, gotcha.
That's just
That-
podcast.
that's not this one, right?
I don't know. The question was essentially worked out to, how can I improve the fastest? Not to be the fastest. How can I improve the fastest?
Right. I understand. So what's the fastest way to improve?
Mm-hmm.
My own opinion is that you get the fastest with practice, doing it in person at the track or doing it with a good sim, you know, iRacing or whatever, R Factor or whatever the good ones are now. But that's that's what I would say. The quickest way to get good at anything, whether it's playing the guitar or driving at the track or, you know, penmanship, is just practice. And so that's the way I would suggest. I don't think there's a real cheat code to like, oh, watch this video or, you know, take this vitamin. You know, there's no kind of unnatural substitute for practice and repetition, and it's building muscle memory and, you know, understanding of the physics of what's happening with your butt dyno.
Mhm.
I think all those things are irreplaceable. But I would say I value iRacing and good sim up there fairly close with you know, actual real seat time in my mind, especially if you've had some seat time and you can kind of translate that back to what you're simulating. I think it has even more value. So if you've been to the track a bunch and then you pivot to sim for, you know, keeping yourself in good shape or good practice, I think that's pretty good.
Miss Vicki, what you're thinking?
For me, it has to be seat time. HPDEs, when you advance in an HPDE, certainly get into a skid pad that helps you advance in your driving. But you can do all the sim racing you want, but there's definitely a difference when you're on the track, to actually, get physical with the car. So
Okay. Well,
What's the real answer, Bill?
the correct answer.
the correct answer is, oh, and
And
instruction. You should have an instructor.
that was where I was going to go. An
Mhm.
instructor, and if you can afford it, a coach, which are semantics in some ways, but different in
Yeah.
other ways.
It depends on where you are too. If you're already a pretty good club racer and you're looking to get a little faster, you're not going to go get a DE instructor to tell you how to do that. You're going to go get a coach. So kind of depends on where you are in your development. A lot of DE instructing it's a great bonus if that person helps you go faster.
Mm-hmm.
But also that person themselves may not be a very fast driver, but they're safe and they know how stuff's supposed to go on track. So you may be in there. I don't think you can expect a DE instructor necessarily to get you a bunch of speed, but you can find people that you like working with and eventually get there kind of in the intermediate phase. But our job in general is just to keep that guy alive and satisfy some insurance requirements.
Yep. Keep
Just
everybody safe.
Yeah, in the same way that police aren't obligated to help you with anything, instructors aren't necessarily obligated or expected to help you go faster. If you get some great help from a cop, great. If you get some great speed help from a low level instructor, also great. But I don't think it's to be assumed. But I will say that's a great point because I've personally been in the car with people and we're going, one speed at the beginning of the day, and we've taken huge amounts of time off by the end of the day. And you don't really shouldn't be timing, and we're really not. I'm not really quantifying how a DE, a novice student or an intermediate student is doing, but you can just tell that you're going a lot faster. We're hitting more RPMs down the straightaway. We're carrying more speed. I can just see that we're going faster. So I'm not trying to advocate for timing laps when you're doing DEs, especially at the early stages of it. But I can for sure say from my lived experience that I've helped people cut tons of time off, but I'm not sure how much of that sticks. Sort of like, I'm not sure the person could do it with me getting out of the car. So we put on some speed. Hopefully some of it sticks, but also I'm in the car driving the car with my mouth. I'm like, all right, let's get it. Yes, you can get it. Yes, you can get it. Turn it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there's a little bit of me micromanaging us getting there, and I hope some of it sticks. But yeah, that is one way to drop a ton of time, at least momentarily, is at the track with an instructor. That's a great point. I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah, if you're, it's kind of like at the end of Ferris Bueller. If you have the means, I highly recommend. Actually, that's not the end, but a coach, like a coach, like a good coach, not an instructor.
Like somebody like Ross Bentley is a coach, right?
If you can afford that, then you won't have bad habits. You won't have things you need to unlearn, and you'll get the foundation. And he's good enough, and several other people are good enough to take you. It's not a matter of what you can improve; it's what you should improve next.
Right. What do we need to target next? Now you got this. Let's work on developing these skills. And so, yeah, coaches can be anybody from the Ross Bentley level all the way down to like my dumb ass. So somewhere in between Ross and me, you can find somebody who likely fits your budget or your needs. You know what I mean? As far as, I've had people ask me, higher level folks and people who are already racing ask me that to help them with a little bit of coaching. And it's fun and it's different than what I'm doing in the car with somebody who is their second track event. Yeah.
Yep, because the instructor to me is somebody who helps bring people into the sport, helps keep them safe, helps keep them, teaches them the fundamentals. Basically follows the curriculum of the HPDE, assuming the HPDE has a curriculum. Some of them do,
right.
Do. Some of them don't. And not necessarily their first priority is to make you faster.
Right. They're there for you to have a safe, good time and come back again and again and again.
Yep.
That's what they want.
Yep. And a coach is kind of, analyzing what you need and how best to get you to the next step or the next step or the next step. And, that's really fast. And I think, like you said, the sim seat time, and Vicki was right with the skid pad. And I think it varies depending on your level. If you're first day on track, or if you're Tom O'Gorman or everything in between. It depends on what you need at that particular point, and sometimes it could be just seat time, sometimes it could be data analysis, sometimes it could be a combination of all the things we've talked about. And it's hard to give a blanket statement, but I think the fastest way is with instruction and coaching.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I will still stick with my statement of saying that you need to be, in the car or simulating to gain a bunch of speed, but adding an instructor on top of that can certainly compress the amount of time it takes you to get faster. We're talking about what's the fastest way to add speed. Certainly throwing a coach on there is like putting a turbo on your car if you're just trying to do it by yourself versus somebody else. But I will say in the vein of, because at some point you're going to be out there, and I mean I think DEs are extremely important to getting faster. I haven't explicitly said that in this talk, but I think going and doing DEs, you're not going to get fast racing. You're not going to get fast trying to figure it out in the middle of competition. You're just going to roll on your back like a turtle and kind of go, "This is what I can do." You may be competitive and you may build some speed from there, but that certainly is not the fastest way to get fast. You might not ever get fast if you try to learn any competition, because you might just kind of get out there and get spooked that first time and be like, all right, well, this is kind of what I do. No, I mean, I definitely got good at this stuff, doing a crap ton of DEs, mainly not because I didn't want to be racing, but just because I couldn't afford to race at the time I started doing all this stuff. So it worked out pretty well for me, but I think you really build that muscle memory and all the stuff you need to be good in race traffic. You build a lot of stuff away from race traffic. So I think DEs are important. And I also think there's going to be a phase where you're still trying to get fast quickly to satisfy that answer to this question, but you're going to be out of the phase where you frequently have an instructor in your car. You're going to be kind of in that high intermediate or rolling around in the Shark Tank and they're sort of their advanced group, their open passing group, that kind of thing. You're going to be kind of out there and you might be feeling like you're doing great. We've talked about plateaus and stuff. So you might not know when you may be feeling like you're really doing a bunch of stuff, but you need to have check-ins. Even if you're living in that kind of that HPDE world where you're not having somebody in your car often, get people to ride with you. If you're in a kind of group where you can have other participants ride with you, do that. If you're still in a group where you're not supposed to take people out, beg an instructor to come out with you, they'll do it. If I'm over the track, I'll take almost any kind of ride. If I'm not busy, I'll jump in the car with anybody. To me, I always learn something. I get to ride in a cool car. There's always some value in it to me, even though I'm not like getting to drive anything or doing anything my dang self. It's a lot of fun just to get in the car with somebody and ride around, just kind of see what they do. So I don't think you'll have a hard time finding people to go take a ride with you, but I think it's important to have people get in there, especially people who kind of go, "Hey, you're doing pretty good with this," and as you get in the car, say, "Hey, I would appreciate you taking a critical look at how I'm doing, and kind of let me know what you think." So not necessarily hiring a coach, but you need to kind of have people come check in with you every once in a while. I think, have somebody who's kind of up the chain as far as speed and experience from you and go, "Hey, how am I doing out here? Is this how you do this?" If you've got some things that are unresolved in your mind, get somebody who's a really good driver to ride around with you, or a really good instructor to ride around with you and kind of critique how you're doing and ask the questions that have been built up in your mind. Because also when you're out there in the wilderness, the DE wilderness, you kind of might build some doubts and questions, and you also kind of are at a point where you don't want to sit in that classroom session either. You hit that level, you're like, shut the fuck up. Let me get out of this class. Or at least I was. So at least I was. I wasn't about to ask any extra questions in the classroom. I'm like, I got a sandwich out here. I need to change my brake pads. It's a whole different classroom world when you get to that level. At least in my mind, I'm a terrible student to begin with, but So I say all that to say, you probably got questions building up, doubts about am I doing this well enough? Am I doing this fast enough? So check in with somebody as you're trying to build this speed quickly and trying to level up and level up and level up as quickly as you can.
And we've had him on a couple times, Con from the Blind Apex podcast.
Right.
He always
recently,
says,
right?
Yeah, a few times. But he always says they can predict, even after you go through the HPD, even after you go through comp school, they can predict the first time you're out at each racetrack. They know exactly where you'll be, and you're going to be a certain number of seconds off from the top of the field. And it's just part of the maturation of you as a driver, because you can be the fastest HPE driver in the world, and the odds on you being the fastest, pick your level, pick your series, Honda Challenge, Spec Miata, whatever, the odds on you coming out and being first place in your first race is nearly zero.
Unless you brought a very overbuilt car and you just been hiding your abilities, it's not going to happen.
Right. So you gotta progress as a driver. Go through the HPD, go through racing, comp school, whatever it takes. But the last little bit, you're gonna have to learn, I think, through either competitive time trials or competitive time attack or time trials, or wheel to wheel, and depends on which way you want to go as to what you'll see. And you're not going to get that last little bit without that competitive part added to it.
Yeah, I agree. I was certainly riding around an HPDE plateau until I got a deal where I could do NASA time trial for freeway. If I was instructing, I was like, "Oh, let's check this out." And I was like, "Whoa!" I thought it was fast. I am not going
Mhm.
fast
Yeah,
because I was doing a great execution. I mean, I'm hitting all my marks, putting the car exactly where it needs to be. I'm downshifting, I'm rev matching. Everything on paper seemed perfect until that paper had my lap time on it, and it's like, oh, got to get faster.
Well, that number is much bigger than his number. Yes,
Exactly.
indeed. Miss Vicki, what about drills? You and I have done a lot of drills. We go to NASA Great Lakes. They love drills. What do you think about drills?
Drills are definitely helpful.
Mhm.
Drills are designed definitely to desensitize you to certain situations.
Hmm.
And in other aspects, it is just for you to get a feel and help you feel what the car can do. I think that they are very, very helpful while you're training before you actually get onto a racetrack. I think you should have a couple at least under your
Mhm.
belt so you get familiar with what it's like to be on track
So
than
you take
just
a
going
portable
on
drill
track.
out there with you. You have like a battery powered drill in the car, and you run the
It's
drill. What are we
it's
talking about?
lithium, so it's fine.
Okay. What are we? What kind of drills are you doing? We talking
Well,
about
so,
where we drive out on half the track, or you got to drive 3 across, or something like that?
yes, well, in the very beginning, some of the drills might be going in and out of cones, a little bit like an autocross, but at
Okay.
speed.
Okay.
Um, some of them might be how close can you get to the car in front of you and maintain speed, and then
Brave.
maneuver around in that. So you might end up doing very close proximity passing,
Mhm.
um, which is very very helpful
Sure. Yeah.
and to maintain speed. And as you get further up, you'll be doing 2 wide and 3 wide drills.
Gotcha.
And I think with the 2 wide drills, you're also going to be planning on passing maneuvers among that. And some of it is just literally just maintaining a line within, a foot of the car next to you, ideally. And just drive that around the track because in some of the aspects and in some of the levels is desensitizing you to wheel to wheel racing side by
Yeah.
side.
I'll tell you what else can desensitize you to that is if you start racing on go karts on dirt and you hit everybody all the damn time, then you start going to DEs like I did. I
Uh,
passed somebody like halfway across the track, and later they came like, oh my god, were we too close? Was I too close to you? I'm like, who are you? What car are you? And I have no idea.
no,
Anyway, so yeah, you. It sounds like the things you're describing could have a lot of value as far as making you comfortable in competition traffic. So, in
right.
satisfaction of answering this listener's question, that may not feed right into making you fastest. But if you're looking at the aggregate and you're trying to be fast in racing eventually, getting all that stuff down where you're squared away and you feel okay being, door to door, zooming, maintaining speed, ultimately that will help you. So it may not satisfy
Right.
this person's answer on his lap times at his DEs, but ultimately his or her DEs, ultimately it's that kind of drill is going to make you a badass in endurance racing traffic, which is all about just holding your pace while you're passing everybody, just
Right. And
passing everybody without letting any pace go. That's important.
right. I would say that even in HPDEs, it's not really so much about going fast as much as learning the track and your brake zones and learning how to brake in your brake zones at speed properly.
Yep.
And all of it, literally all of it is just desensitizing you for the actual track. So the better you become at an HPDE, the better you can level up on speed with that comfort level.
Yep. For sure.
Mhm.
So here comes the party pooper. To some extent, I don't want to answer this question
All right.
because I don't want you to worry about getting to be the fastest because I've seen several organizations who don't do a good job of getting the fundamentals down, getting the skills down, and then you are going really fast. And then when you find out that you don't have a certain skill or you're not exactly what you need to be, the impact can be much bigger than if you,
Literally.
yeah, exactly. Than if you had learned that at a slower speed, at a practice speed, or in a drill, and some of these, I'm not saying you're going to die in an HPDE, but you can wreck a car. You can wreck a couple cars.
I've been scared of some cars I've seen in advanced DE groups before. I've been like, dude, just build a race car, put a cage in that thing. You're like, you see other people in those kind of groups. Like, you wanted to go up to them and tell them, like, you're fast enough that you need a cage in that thing, man.
Mhm.
I'm scared for you. You got a Corvette going like 165. You
Yeah.
need some protection. And I'm certainly not riding with you.
Yeah, we as a team, we don't do HPD 3 or above without a cage.
That's a great idea. That's an interesting point to bring up, even though it's kind of besides the point. It's a really smart idea.
Because you're just going fast, and kinetic energy goes up with velocity squared. And if I'm doing 80 miles an hour, and then I'm doing 120 miles an hour, it's not just a little bit faster. It's a lot. It's a decent amount faster, but the energy upon an impact is more than double.
That's wild. I'm such a dumbass. I had no idea that was true, but I heard squared, which sounds like a lot bigger thing happens. So damn, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't hit something.
So perhaps the foundation of the question was flawed. How do I improve the fastest? It's how do you do it safely? And that kind of cramps a lot of people's style, especially
Safety's got to be a factor.
The younger you are, the less this seems to make sense. And since
I don't know,
old,
when I started with my Miata, I was like, I'm going to have harnesses and a bar in this thing before I even go do an autocross. In autocross, I don't think they make you have to have a bar in there. But I was like, I don't even want to ride around the street in this Miata without a bar. So I've been a nerd about safety forever. So you're not scaring me with that safety talk.
But it's something to think about. If you're thinking, how do I get there the fastest?
Yeah,
that may not be the best plan.
Well, also consider just practically, if you're kind of out kicking your coverage on skill versus speed, something that can slow you down for sure is having a big old wreck, and then suddenly you can't afford to do this for a long time or something like that. So you might end up experiencing your own consequences and having to calibrate your journey that way too.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to go fast when you have a car.
Yep, that's a true fact.
I mean, I'm not bragging about my running skills, but I can drive faster than I can run. I'm not. Yeah. So,
yep.
Something to think about. Anyway, I think we've beaten that one up. And as usual,
good luck to this listener. Yeah, I hope they can hit us with some feedback on how it's going or what they think about what we had to say.
Yeah, or if we missed something, or if we're totally off base, which it is possible.
Happens all the time.
Exactly. Write in. Let us know. All the social
media. Thank you so much for the question.
What would be even better, Ben? I was thinking about this on the way home today. If they wrote their question after giving us a review,
that's a really good thing. I think they can go give us a review on every of the different podcast platforms,
all the places,
the Podcatcher, Stitchers, and whatever. Yeah. Do them everywhere. Do them on each separate platform, and then hit us with your question.
That's right.
And if you tell us that you did that and then ask the question, we will elevate your glory and make you sound like the coolest person ever.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, you're not us, so you're already cool.
It's only anybody not us is like automatically cooler.
That's one step. 1 star. 1 star.
Yep.
Highly recommend.
Good luck.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.